These are the voyages of SV Prism. The crew on board are searching for exotic landscapes and foreign cultures as they sail their 33-foot sailboat beyond horizons.
Sail over to Stone Island from the marina was slow going, light breeze, and it was just blue skies, so it was really enjoyable, and it only took us, maybe an hour or two to get over there. I'm really glad we've stopped in Mazatln. We were told by a couple people to completely skip it, that we weren't going to like it, and I would say it's the complete opposite. We are heading over to the next anchorage, and hopefully Mazatln keeps its good reputation up with us.
Pretty mellow sailing here, Shani.
It's pretty nice.
But what kind of skippering is this?
Shannon skippering?
Is this like Cadillac driving? Like pinky driving?
Yeah. This is my kind of sailing. I love this. If sailing was always like this, it'd be the best. I mean, it already is pretty much the best, but this would just be like if the ocean was just always like this, the wind was always like this.
You could do it. You could circumnavigate tomorrow.
Yep.
Stone Island is kind of a special spot in Mazatln because it's one of the few places that you can actually anchor and you can get to mainland shore.
So when you're anchored in Stone Island, it's a little more complicated to get into downtown Mazatln. You have to kind of hike up and then cross a road and then get onto a Ponga ferry terminal dock. And you just get in the Ponga and it takes you straight across into the main port. I, at this point, was getting a little better with my Spanish, so I was able to find out how much it cost, what times it went back and forth, what time was the last one coming back, and so forth. And then getting into downtown Mazatln after that, it's either a taxi ride or a 15 to 20 minute walk.
When you see in the movies sets designed around downtown Mexican cities, that's Mazatln.
We're coming into historical downtown in Mazatln, and John and I kind of both at the same time were like, wow, it kind of feels like New Orleans. The streets, it looks like there's been some water damage over the years, just like New Orleans. Except it doesn't smell like piss like New Orleans, which is nice. So we really have no, oh, let's see, Wi-Fi. Oh, gelato.
Gelatos. Mazatln so far has been amazing. We have found the big cathedral, and it is just as grand in person as it was in the books. So far the people have been very nice, and it's just been really cool to see like a actual city.
When we got to the historic district in Mazatln, we kind of just roamed the city. Luckily, in the square, there is a map, which came very useful to us as we found out. We're like, oh, we should go see that, we should go see that. And then we would just wander around, and we kept wandering until we stumbled upon the giant indoor market, which was so cool.
Is this the Mercado?
Yeah, I think it is. And I want to see it. So the giant market at Mazatln, it has anything and everything you could possibly need. One section is the butchers, and it's actually kind of hard to walk through because it smells bad and there's blood everywhere.
If you have money and time, you can find pretty much anything you need there, from nuts and bolts to boat parts to food to meat to hair products. It has it all.
And then you get into the fruit and vegetable section, which smells amazing because it smells like pineapple and papayas, and it's just wonderful, and you could get really good avocados. Before we left Mazatln, we were determined to upload a video because we knew we weren't going to be in a big city again with good Wi-Fi for a while. So we found this little Italian gelato place.
And we spent the entire day in a cafe. Why did we spend the entire day in a cafe? Well, to bring you guys videos. It was our Turtle Bay file, if you guys remember that one. It took us 6 hours to upload that. So hope you guys liked that video, because that wasn't just let it burn overnight. We actually had to sit for that one out. My back is shot, but enough about me complaining. Cruising's really good. I just wanted to do that little rant.
I lost count hours ago. We left the boat. So I guess not that well. We left the boat at what, 10? And it's 3:30. And we did eat a lot of gelato, not gonna lie. And we finally got that upload done. I'll make it balanced for you, sir.
Thanks. Oh God, I'm going in.
Before we left Stone Island, we decided to run the air compressor before we left a big city, just in case we needed any parts. So we opened her up, started her up, and filled up a tank to make sure that all pressures were correct and that we were getting a correct fill, because we were headed over to Isla Isabel next, and we were really looking forward to doing some diving there. We bought a dive compressor for Prism because while we were in the Sea of Cortez, we found it very difficult to fill our tanks and find people who could fill our tanks. So John looked at me and said, we're either going to sell all the dive gear and not dive anymore, or we're buying a dive compressor so that we can dive whenever we want. So clearly, we bought the dive compressor and we dove whenever we wanted.
At this point, with the new dive compressor, only time we had ever ran the dive compressor was at Nuver in Ventura. And so we wanted to make sure it ran once we were down there, and because Mazatlán was kind of the last place we were going to be that had like good mailing service, people that could probably work on the compressor if something was wrong. The dive compressor is important for us because without it, I think I would have by now gotten rid of the dive gear, because the dive gear, even though you're on the water all the time and Shannon's a dive instructor, it still doesn't get used enough for, in my opinion, to be worth keeping on board for all of the room it takes up. So the dive compressor was the solution to that problem. It's still kind of up in the air to see. I mean, there's been times with the dive compressor so far that we look at it and says like, man, this is awesome. This is so great we have this. And other times when I'm working on it, it's like, man, this thing's a pain in the ass.
Ooh, backfire.
I think it was our last day there. Shannon looked at me and she's like, we're gonna have to go to the beach now or we're never gonna go to the beach. I'm like, okay, we're going to the beach.
So we've met a couple of cruisers in Mazatlán that have complained about the beaches being overcrowded, too many, resorts, hotels. Well, if you don't mind not being in a marina, you can get away from all of that. Check out this beach behind me. There's no one here. You have the whole place to yourself. It's really, really pretty. You can do cartwheels. It's almost surfable if you're a big surfer. But yeah, it just goes to tell you that everyone's opinion is usually pretty far from what the reality is, and you just have to experience it for yourself.
Delicious.
What's that mud do?
This mud makes me want to be a kid again. Aw. My mud pie was washed away. The beach is just outside of the town, so you don't have any major resorts or anything lining this beach. And you can just walk for hours and hours down this beach. You can watch all of the wildlife, and you can do cartwheels and hang out on the beach. You can have a picnic, you can have a romantic night, you can do whatever it is that you want on that beach.
Walked probably a half a mile or maybe a mile way down the beach and just explored a little bit and watched the wildlife. And by the time we turned around and got back to near the boat, the sun was going down. And then I think right when we got back, we were oaring back out to our boat. Our friends on SV Enchanter yelled, "Come over for drinks!" And so we had drinks on Enchanter, which is a gorgeous boat. And yeah, that was the saga of Stone Island.
Next time on SV Prism, we get out of the Stone Island anchorage and head to Isla Isabel, also known as the Galapagos of Mexico. Being a World Heritage Site, the island is teeming with wildlife. We do our best to explore above and below the water of this magical place. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Also, follow us on Facebook and Instagram to see the newest updates on where we are right now. The show is funded by viewers like you, so if you like the show, consider becoming a patron so we can continue making the show in the future. For more details about Prism, camera gear, and the crew, go to svprism.com. Thanks again for watching, and like always, fair winds and following seas.